Welcome to this special episode of Eureka. This is part of our COVID series, and in this series, we are looking at how various Indian scientific institutions are gathering themselves to support this war against novel coronavirus. The pandemic is raging. We need novel solutions to fight them. The post-corona world will also need a change in our lifestyle, which will demand new technologies and new ways of living. How Indian science is contributing to this? This is our focus of these special episodes on COVID-19. In today's program, we have with us Professor Harish Hirani. He is the director of Central Mechanical Engineering Research Institute, an institution under CSIR. They have come up with a number of interesting technologies for use in hospital and also at home situation. We'll discuss them in this episode, and thanks sir for being with us in this show. It's a very wonderful opportunity. So let me start with one of your let's say fabrication, Hcart. So can you tell us about this Hcart and how it is going to be useful for us, particularly, for example, in COVID hospitals, in that situation where as much as possible, you would like to reduce the contact between the infected patients and caregivers. So how is it going to be useful? What is it actually?
So thanks first for inviting me in this kind of program, and trying to we can share our ideas so that further this whatever the scientific work we are doing, it nurtures, it increases in a multiple way, or it can be good multiplier. Now coming to the Hcart, we were listening the newses, and then every day something was there that now more and more doctors or health workers are getting infected with the coronavirus. Reason being, they have a more probability of contact with a corona patient directly. So how do we really provide some help to them? One initially was that to make a good mask, like a N95 kind of mask, or you make some sort of PPE which can help them. And then the other one was that can we really avoid a contact, and whenever there is the important, very essential, then only the doctors or nursing staff should go and contact them. In the situation, we already were working on robotic devices, because CMER is known for robotic devices. And we thought, why not we try to make our moving AGV, what we made, autonomous guided vehicle. Why not we align this vehicle with the purpose, or we try to repurpose this vehicle for utilization in a hospital. So we added those things. So first, what are the functional requirements? Functional requirement was that patient should not feel alone, and doctor also should not be there. So these are the kind of the contradiction. And now we are, like the way we are interacting through the VC or to the Skype, can we have this kind of mode? When we thought it is possible, the only thing, the internet will not be in a hospital rooms. So can we go ahead with some alternative purposes or alternative devices so that a vehicle moves its own completely, or maybe either it kind of follows a track, or it can be controlled remotely. So we have a power use of both. It can be controlled remotely and it can be configured to operate its own also. So we made that robot, and then what are the purposes when it goes in front of the patient? One is a VC. The doctor can directly talk to the concerned patient. There's a possibility to deliver the water bottle. There's a possibility of delivering the medicines or food. That robot can do. Now another point comes, it should not explode. So there should not be the explosion problem. And then it should not go out of the way and start hitting the bat. So the kind of the hunting problems and all, we try to resolve all those. Now we have a complete good robot. We already got a number of orders, and 4 hospitals also have tried this robot. They have shown satisfaction. Of course, they have given few suggestions, because every hospital is different. They want 1 or 2 new features. So in short, we can say that this robot is really helpful to the hospitals, and then we are also trying to keep a cost low. Initially we thought around 5 lakh rupees because robotic devices are generally costly. Now we are continuously reducing the cost so that it can be sold at a cost of 1.5 lakh rupees or even lesser than that also. And then we also have done a lot of work on the battery management. It should not happen that in between the battery goes out. So that's why we felt that a battery also should be very clear, and then it should not be also very difficult to remove battery if there is a swappable mechanism, because one of the hospitals say if we want to buy this robot, then we will utilize it for 24/7.
Okay.
That means we don't want to give a time for the battery charge. So then we have come up with a swappable battery. You remove battery, bring another battery inside that, and it will work for 24/7. And many doctors also feel, oh, sir, this is a very good thing. In ROI will come 8 months to 1 year. That means within 8 months, it will be the product can be it will collect cost free or free of cost to them. So that is what we have done.
Yeah, this I think one important factor that you also mentioned is that many other people have also tried this kind of robots, but they lack this human touch, meaning that they are all mechanical devices or electronically controlled. They just go and dispense. There was no video connection or some way when that robot goes near the patient, there is a kind of a human connection to that through the robot, which I think is a very important feature that you have put. I think it is not going to be useful only during this pandemic, but also in future when we have to deal in many new situations. That's a very interesting. Another interesting question that I want to ask.
Sorry, I just wanted to add one or two new things also. Initially, we kept with the file arrangement. The file will go to the patient. Now also we removed that. We say that instead of file movement, which will be causing a more and more virus, 3 days, 5 days kind of the spread. So instead of that, can we go with the digitization? Now everything is digitized. Now the patient can see the results. It is a two-way communication. If he wants to feed something, he can feed also. Doctor also can give instructions. He can or he or she can really define each and everything properly.
Very nice. Very nice. See, one question that comes to my mind. See, when the water taps in public places become more, I mean, we were dispensing water through water taps. There were a lot of water wastage. That is when, for example, the sensor-based water dispensing taps were evolved. So that only if you keep your hand below the tap, the water will flow. Otherwise, most of us used to just keep the tap open and then maybe brush or, so there was a lot of water wastage. So today, not only just during the pandemic, and I suppose for many years to come, some of this hygiene practice that we are following, like say, for example, hand washing with soap, would be essential. I mean, it's not going to go away within next few months. That kind of practice we need to follow for quite a long time. Can we, or does your institute thought of some innovative ways to establish this kind of practices?
Thanks. I think you have mentioned the right point that it is very essential to keep self-hygiene. We have developed also the touchless soap cum water dispensing unit. Reason being, we understood there is an importance of washing your hand with a soap for 20 to 40 seconds. And initially we made automatic soap dispensing unit. It will like a water also will come its own and soap also will come its own, but two separate units. Then we observed that many people are not following this guideline of CDC guideline 20 to 40 seconds. They take a soap in one hand and then they move to the water and then they wash a hand and they move away. So they take even lesser than 10 seconds. And we observed and we felt now this is not correct and it is unnecessary giving a feeling that you have wash your hand and truly you are not wash your hands. So why not we come up with a forced thing like we give only one tap. Instead of two taps, the cost will be reduced. We'll give only one tap. Initially, when you it is to be a touchless sensor, and when you come near to the sensor, it will give you the soap. And then you need to you are forced to wash your hand for 20 to 40 seconds, which is a programmable. It can be changed from 20 to 40 seconds. Now, when you continuously washing your hand with a soap, it is then you realize, oh, maybe this corner is not, the soap has not reached, this corner has not reached. So it is really giving you time. Otherwise, what will happen, many times we take a soap and we are in some other thinking, we wash and move away, because we are very busy people, and then hardly any person you will find who has the time. So this forces, 20 second means 20 second you need to wash. And after the 17 second a beep comes, the water is going to come and you need to position your hand for the water. And then water remains only for 10 seconds. So again, we are controlling the quantity of water also. If you want the next time, again, you need to go with the soap. Okay. So this is what we have made, and then this is what we made for the companies or industry, like our organizations also. Then many people say we want it for our houses. So now we have made a new arrangement which can be utilized in existing wash basins. The existing tap can be removed. This system can be directly installed on the system. So as you mentioned that even the post-COVID, this kind of system can be utilized. We are not giving very high cost. So in normal tap can be removed. Now somebody says, no, I don't want to wash my hand with a soap at all. Maybe sometime, or maybe I want to wash my the face. So that's why now we have put another switch system also there, that if you want only water, and then in the particularly houses, then you can do only water, only soap, or no soap come water with a 20 second, 40 second duration.
Very interesting. I think with the coming post-corona world, some of these kinds of measures will be very essential, and this kind of technologies will actually also impact on the way we behave. That's, I think, a very important point. So this brings us logically to the question of mask. When we are alone in our house or in our own room, when nobody else is there, okay, there is particularly no reason that why we should be wearing mask. But particularly when we are stepping out of our house or in a public place with others, even if it is an office space, we need to wear mask. So we need varieties of masks. Of course, N95 mask, which is suitable for your hospital, perhaps is not necessary for an ordinary person who is just stepping out to buy some vegetable or some grocery, right? So what is your thought process on mask from your institution?
It's a very interesting question because the mask is essential not only in today, by the way, I believe that after 2 years or 3 years, this will be a practice. Even the people, when they go to the hospital, they should wear mask. They should not touch the surfaces also. Even this one report says that more than 25% disease happen because of the hospital infections. If you go to visit as a visitor to any hospital, you may come up with some sort of problem, or maybe not immediately, maybe after 1 month or 2 months. So this is very much required. We started our institute because 30th March I issue a notification our institute will be working, because we got order from CSIR that we need to be essentials, providing essential services, and CMERI needs to make a mechanical ventilator. And because we may require a number of mechanical ventilators, when we issue order that everybody should come with a mask, and then I found that masks are not available in the market, and people are selling even the normal to normal mask in a 70 rupees, 80 rupees. We did some calculation. We said, no, it cannot be. It should be more like a 10 rupees, 12 rupees, something like that. So we started venturing into a couple of scientists worked initially for 2 layer. Then we moved to 3 layer. We got a certificate also from CITRA that it is having 95% the particulate efficiency and 99.9% for the bacterial efficiency. So it has also maybe motivated us. Can we venture also into N95? And then if you organization purchase a machine from abroad, but I was interested more on indigenization. I say, why do I really need to import anything? Why not we make our own? So we made a small machine. We also made one experimental setup to test all the things which are required for 95. Now I'm happy to inform you that soon, maybe on the 17th of July, we are launching that N90 equivalent to N95. And cost is well within 30 rupees.
Very interesting. N95 at 30 rupees is like somebody cannot even imagine in contemporary times. That's a very important point. With this, we'll take a very short break. We'll continue this conversation. We'll take a very short break. Keep watching Eureka. After this break, we are going to talk to him about what about when novel coronavirus seeps through our sewage. Keep watching Eureka. After the break, we'll continue the conversation.
COVID-19 has been described as a pandemic by the World Health Organization. What does that mean? Characterizing COVID-19 as a pandemic is not an indication that the virus has become deadlier. Rather, it is an acknowledgement of the disease's geographical spread.
Welcome back to Eureka. We are having a very wonderful, very enlightening, very exciting conversation with Dr. Harish Hirani. He is the director of Central Mechanical Engineering Research Institute, a constant unit of CSIR. So this is one question that I want to ask. I mean, of course, we know that the novel coronavirus is transmitted through our airways when we cough, sneeze, or even speak. Many recent studies have shown that it's also expelled through our excreta. So which means that the sewage that goes from our house, if you are an asymptomatic person or maybe a very mild person who is just getting treated at your house, or even hospital sewage for that matter, are going to go into the central sewage. So the virus is there in the central sewage. In fact, in many places, people are even taking the viral samples from the sewage to also find out how the virus comes. What kind of viruses are coming where from. There are quite a lot of studies based on that, right? So this is also a major challenge for us.
As you mentioned that this is an important problem, and then we required a quick solution, and then when we did a literature review also we found solutions are not readily available. That means we need to evolve, we need to do some experiments, and we need to come up with a good equipment or setup on this situation. So we started. Initially, we thought that why do we send any pathogen from a CMERI to the outside? Initially, the sewage water, whatever we were using, it was directly discarded in a central sewage system. And then I felt as a good human or maybe good Indian, why not we start working to remove all the pathogens from water and then discard. So we should go with a zero waste kind of thing, and we experimented and we found the sewage water is not that kind of bad water. Initially I thought maybe it will have a lot of smell, and but it was not. When we experimented and we made a multiple filters also, we have a now the dosage system, that chlorine dosage is also mixed based on the pH, whatever the pH of the sewage system. So we have done, now we have made also one pond into the CMER, right? So somebody wants to come and see what really happens. We are showing them that, and we have developed a complete water testing facility also in a CMER, right? We also regularly, once in a week, we check what kind of water comes out. And then when we are sending it, throwing or maybe in the mixing with the outside sewage system, then it should not have any virus. So we have developed a complete system. It is a trial, we are trying. Once we make a foolproof system, then we'll also launch it. In fact, I can tell you that yesterday only one of the company came and they say that they have received a notification from NGT that they need to clean before putting this water into the river. And then we have the Damodar river, and there are a number of sewage plants nearby, and then whatever that they are discarding the sewage in the river, it is really polluting drastically. So, and then there's a company came and said, can we collaborate with you? So we will be discussing on that. But we have a now system we have a 3-tank system. Like we pick up the complete sewage, we do a solid, biosolid separate. Then there is a liquid, or maybe we mix it with the chlorine, and then subsequent other whatever requirement. And we now you can visit our CMERI. You can see now pathogens are not going out of the CMERI. So we kill all pathogen with the CMERI itself.
Very, very interesting. I mean, again, a solution that perhaps, for example, in big cities, huge residential colonies can emulate. I mean, there are multiple uses for this technology in long term to come when we need to reuse water multiple times. Otherwise, we are not going to really have water. Water is going to be a major problem, right?
I want to just add one more thing. I also know is coming with some sort of questions. Do our hospitals, where the corona patients are really getting treatment, whether they have this kind of treatment or not? If not, I think better we should immediately impose this kind of treatment, because through hospital, if it goes and the sewage system or even the whatever the other water system maybe, but sometimes they use a bottom sewage and the top is more like a surface water. They treat as a surface water. It should not get mixed with any of other sewage system. So we should impose this kind of a rule. Reason being, even the corona virus which is coming out of the hospital, if it is started spreading, it will turn out to be a very major problem for India. So we should emphasize on that also.
Yeah, sure. I think it's an important aspect to also keep in mind. Maybe not just only for coronavirus, but also for many other pathogens that the hospital might be. I mean, patients are there. I mean, many of them are infectious diseases. Many bacteria and other things can also come out of hospital. I think it's an important thing to keep in mind. So let me move to another question. This is about the mechanical ventilator. You are talking about how you came across this. I mean, one of your solutions is essentially you are looking at mechanical ventilator and you have to call people to your office. That is how you started looking at mask. But what about the main task which you are tasked at the very beginning? Because with the patient numbers increasing, perhaps we will need more ventilators. We'll need more innovative ways of managing our necessities. So mechanical ventilator, where are we now?
We launched one mechanical ventilator last month, I think maybe 7th June, and then we made after that also a number of improvements in the mechanical ventilator. If you see the mechanical ventilation, basically it tries to give air and oxygen mixture, and then it supplies to the mask or through the inhalation, but we need to go with the tubing mechanism. So that is generally done. Now, what we have done initially based on the volume, how much volume is really required for the patient, concerned patient. The trained officer or the trained health workers can decide, and that much volume can be fed. It had two modes. One is that the person doesn't have any conscious, and then he's not able to breathe his own, that we need to give. And that is called a passive patient. Other one is a bit in between, he or she start getting the breathing, or he or she wants to breathe his own also. So we also provide the provision that we have a mechanism whenever the person is trying to breathe for at least few times in the loop, and then remaining has to be given the breathing from my machine. So these two modes were given. But later we also realized there is other mode is called a pressure based also. So what initially we did only the volume based. Now pressure mode is also required for the giving more control. And because like a person is infected and then his lungs are not able to breathe the oxygen in its own. So some pressurization system is required to open up the pore also. We can provide a more...
when the patients become severe or, they become much more, their lungs are filled with the debris from the infection, normal pressure will not work. I mean, only part of the lungs will be actually working that time. So you need to think of this pressurization, right?
Yeah. So now we have implemented that also. Now we also are coming up with the third concept, that is what we call can we connect it with the oxygen therapy also. It's something like oxygen therapy requires much more, because we studied and we found more than 30% patients get appropriate oxygen, and then they are all right. They may not require a ventilator. But sometimes ventilator is required spontaneous. Like somebody is on oxygen, he was working showing a good results, and then maybe suddenly immediately he requires a ventilator. So can we combine this oxygen therapy to the ventilator? And one more point we understood is that sometimes access to oxygen is also creating a problem. So there should be monitoring unit which can really figure out what is really oxygen level, whether even after providing that high oxygen, whether a person is able to breathe appropriately or not. So we added those mechanism also. So some more artificial intelligence is getting added. We are continuously improving ventilator. Now coming to the full-fledged ventilator, we felt that in Corona time we may not require full-fledged ventilator because that requires many more iterations. So we can say that our ventilator are ready for the makeshift hospital. You give any makeshift hospital, we are able to provide a good results. But if you say the full-fledged ventilator, I will say no, because for the kids, we have not made a provision because they require lesser volume, and then maybe they require much more stringent norms. So we have not made that kind of ventilator, but makeshift hospital we have done everything.
So basically, for immediate management of Corona, you have a ventilator which can help a large number of patients. That's what we are at it, right? Yeah. So this brings to one interesting question that more and more the governments are suggesting that if you are only mild Corona patient, or sometimes even a very moderate level, you are not having any breathing trouble and so on, you stay at home and take care of yourself. What about this section? Have you thought of any ideas for this section?
Yeah, so we made a mechanical ventilator for the home patient also. They can be at a home and they can utilize this. And another point which we thought that when person is sitting at home or he is a Corona patient, and then maybe he's not allowed or she's not allowed to move out of the home, but whatever the garbage that will move out of that house. If it moves out of the house, it may spread. So now we have made a full-fledged disposing unit, or we'll say waste disposal unit, and then it has a complete treatment also. Corona cannot survive in that treatment. We have now the complete automation that the conveyor belt picks up the garbage. Even though you give a complete polythene sealed bag, it will tear the bag. It will expose complete the layer by layer. There's a waste to the UV light or UVC light. Then we treat also the temperature 70 degree at most for the couple of minutes. It remains in that temperature. Then waste is segregated, and then all the plastic also goes to the pyrolysis mechanism, which is a sufficient high temperature. Viruses or maybe other kind of the toxic parameters are also not there. Even the biodegradable material, which also we utilize, we completely dispose of in a way. We generate a biogas, and then after that sludge is again treated so that pathogen should not survive. So we have a foolproof solution, and we were already working in this line. I think we started this in 2017. We made a policy that our waste should not go out of our colony. We made a complete zero waste colony from solid. Now with the Corona, we added a UV system, we added a temperature so that it gives a foolproof results also. So we are working this plan. Yeah.
That's interesting because even after Corona, this kind of a system with UV and heat will also take away other pathogens. So it's also will be giving a biosafety, not only a good disposal of waste. With this, for want of time, we may have to end our conversation here, but I'm sure there are quite a lot of other work that your institution has done, but this program has a limited time, so we have to end our conversation here. And it was a very, very wonderful, very enlightening to know that a number of innovative, out-of-box thinking is coming from Indian institution and your institution particularly. Thank you for being with us in the show. It was a very great conversation. Keep watching Eureka. We'll come back with another conversation next week, same time.
Thank you. Jai Hind.